and welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that lovely brutal OSC as we have returned, and we are jumping in mid-series into the quarterfinals. We've returned with our next PvP, Trigger versus Shameless. They've been facing off. They've been duking it out back and forth here, and they found themselves in Game 3 in the ace match of their quarterfinals match. And here we go, spawning in the top right-hand corner of Amygdala, we have the blue Protoss player representing Team Little Fairy being forced into the ace match. Can he bounce back? It is Shameless. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the yellow Protoss, representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. And if you're in the chat, then predictions. Predictions are open. Place your bets to get your gamba going, as you can place your bets on who you think will take this game. As a reminder, it's a best of 3, and it's only one game, as we are tied up 1-1. This could go either way, so best of luck in the chats. I do think both these players are close in skill. I do give the edge to Trigger, 100%. I do give him the edge, especially in the PvP matchup, but clearly Shameless has shown that he can, or he is a threat to Trigger. He can contest him, and this could still go either way. Here we go. We could still see that upset. As for now, we are getting to our openers. Two-gate opener here out of Trigger. We should be seeing, oh, okay, single gas opener out of Shameless. Gateway into Cybercore economic opener. No, does he expand? He's crazy. Shameless gate expand. This again is the greediest opener you can go for, and on a map like Amygdala, bold move out of Shameless. Trigger, he sets up back at home. Trigger, he does not probe scout. Ooh. Okay, so a couple of things. I was not here for game 1 and game 2, so I don't know if Trigger has been skipping his probe scout period this series. It's possible he might just be skipping it in every game so far. If so, this is a very smart move out of Shameless to be able to blindly open up in such a greedy fashion on an undefendable map like Amygdala, but he gets away with it because there is no probe scout. So Shameless, he gets away with it. He will get away with it. He does start things off with an economic lead, with an economic advantage, and Trigger, he's gonna be playing from behind, at least economically. You can see Trigger opening up Stalker Sentry. This is a safe opener as well to scatter across the map, which again means that Trigger doesn't really have any pushing power. With the hallucination, he will now know. He will now find out. This is a natural. He's crazy. He is. But I mean, again, it works. And he gets away with it. Hallucination will scout. Trigger, he checks the main. He will confirm that it is going to be a second gateway. Second gateway is now on the way. Now he knows. Now he knows what's been going on. The nexus is already done. Trigger's, his is still not even halfway complete at this point. So Shameless, he enjoys a very nice economic lead. And now Trigger is aware. Now he knows. And the question becomes, how does he respond? We have a Robo opener here out of Trigger. Once again, very defensive. What I will say is that you can open up War Prism. If Trigger feels pressured, and he should feel pressured to get damage done, we should open up with a War Prism to be able to harass with Adepts into the main. We'll see if that's the case. A Trigger rushing into a third. Okay, never mind. He responds. He sees the greed, and he responds with his own greed instead. Fast third base here out of Trigger. His natural isn't even done. Like, before the natural finishes, he throws down the third nexus to try to catch up. That is his plan. So he's meeting greed with greed. It is going to be Immortal first, not War Prism. That tells us that Trigger is going to slowly build up his Immortal count over time. Shameless, he's aware of the Robo. And what this means is that Trigger is going to be stuck at home. Remember, no blink. There's no blink, there's no charge, there's no War Prism. There's nothing to really be active out on the map. So it's going to be building up towards 2, 3, potentially 4 Immortals. Between 3 and 4 Immortals on 3 bases before moving out with a more robust army. But Trigger is going to be stuck at home. Meanwhile, Shameless, he responds to the third base. He did see the third base timing of his opponent. Shameless, he is aware. Likewise, he saw the initial Immortal. This is a bold move out of Trigger. Again, Trigger, he cannot reinforce this army. He has no blink, but he has 1 Immortal. And with that 1 Immortal, he's moving out. And his goal here is to deny the third base. We'll see if he can pull this off. We'll see if he gets punished for it as well. So far, Shameless has been skipping warp-ins. Okay, no, we're good. He's got 5 Stalkers. His shield battery is done just in time. He's good. He's in position. Adepts, they do distract. They do hit the natural. And probes are going down. Gonna be 2-3 workers so far. Shameless, he's waiting for the main army. And Trigger, he backs up. So very successful attack here. Trigger, he didn't deny the 3rd, but he gets 5 probes. And with that, Trigger takes a worker lead. So very nice moves here out of Trigger. Again, this force was just a distraction. It was just a distraction here that Trigger made use of. And with that, now we can settle in. We have our back and forth. A blink is done for Shameless. Getting to +1. Upgrades are going to be ahead here for our blue Protoss player. But again, Trigger, he makes off of that with Immortal Production. He's got 2, soon to be 3. And again, Trigger, he should be moving out with either 3 or 4 Immortals. We'll see how he builds up. As Forge is on the way. Shameless, he pokes in from the right-hand side. Going for his own gateway explosion. Shameless just poking in. Once again, Shameless, he distracts the main army, and he slips in with Adepts. He goes for the same maneuver that Trigger just went for, but Trigger is in position. There's a shade into the main. It's going to be 3 probe kills. Going to get 4. Can he get 1 extra worker up? Not quite. So some nice damage there by Shameless. Not as successful as Trigger's run by, but, you know, damage nonetheless. Shameless setting up a proxy pylon. So we can eventually reinforce. Temple Archives on the way, so we're working towards charge lots and Archons. Meanwhile, that is the 4th Immortal for Trigger. Getting a 5th. Getting up to 5 Immortals. That's a lot of Immortals. A very heavy Immortal army. And Trigger, he should move out with his upgrades. I'm referring to this. I'm referring to +1 and charge. They're on the horizon here for Trigger. They are somewhat lined up. And Trigger will eventually move out. He's been stuck at home this entire time, but again, he's been building up this insane army. As he builds up, I mean, so is Shameless. The big thing that Trigger is missing is Archons, but that's what the Temple Archives is for the eventual move out. And the armies are about to clash. Now, with Trigger having 0 Archons, I do favor Shameless's composition a little bit more. But the first Archon is on the way. That's a good start, but again, he's gonna need more. We need additional Archons. There we go, more Archons on the way. Shameless, he commits. Does push in. Nice control here by Trigger, saving the Immortals. Does kite back. The juggling, the control. Kites back the Immortals, but the Archon is exposed. 1 Archon goes down. There's 1 Archon left. Likewise going to be targeted as well. Oof, the Archon falls. But last Shameless, he's running out of Zealots. Does he have enough? Oh, dives on the Prism. Prism finally goes down. The Archons are soon going to follow. Boys are being pulled, and Shameless, it looks like he's done it. He has broken through. GG gets caught. Shameless, he overwhelms. And Shameless will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the semi-finals. GG. GG, well played. Shameless, he does take it. He does advance on. Again, he hit just before the Archon count got too high. If you remember, Trigger, he only had 1. He only had 1 Archon, and a second Archon was morphing in as the fight was starting, and they did get focused down a lot early on. Again, winding it back a little bit, the reason why I emphasize Archons is because a high Immortal count can do very well against opposing Archons or opposing Stalkers, but they don't actually trade well against Zealots. And there was a sea of Zealots there for Shameless. He had the better composition. Trigger did need less Immortals and more Archons instead. Alas, he barely didn't have them in time. Again, he only had 2. Again, only 2 towards the halfway mark of the fight. And with that, Shameless was able to break through just in time. If he had waited any longer, and if Trigger had gone up to 4 Archons, around 4 Archons, maybe even 5 Archons, then Trigger would have just snowballed out of control. But Trigger, he barely didn't get there in time. Did not get there in time. GG, well played. Shameless, he will advance on, and now we're getting ready for our next series, for our next match. Here we go. Getting ready for that PvP. As up next, we have the semifinals. It's going to be a PvP between Shameless and Hero.